First show back from Detroit, and we have a great episode for you. Of course, we are recapping all things draft related. Logan Paulson is getting in the film room with the guys to talk about our phenomenal draft class, and Free Agency Fridays is back, baby. We got the linebacker Bobby Wagner joining the show. And drafted #1 overall for the Command Center draft is no other than Mississippi State's own defensive back, the mouth of the South, Fred Smooth.
Fred, hey, but one person going #1.
Must be nice to get drafted.
It would be nice, but you know what, Commanders family, all this starts right now. Welcome into Command Center, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders.
Plus, I'll leave with the headline.
How's everybody doing?
Home run after home run.
Not as good as me.
They're going to turn it around a lot quicker than people think.
52nd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft.
It's on, y'all.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
Let's go! Welcome to DC, man.
This guy is going to turn into one of those players that every quarterback is going to have nightmares about.
This guy may be the best football player, the pound for pound in the draft.
I'm about to pick a badass right now.
That's good. Brandon Coleman, tackle.
Jordan McGee here checking in. Just know y'all getting a dog.
I think it's a magic day in heaven. Appreciate you. It really is.
Someone cooked you, and that was Adam Peters.
What's good, Commanders family? Brian Cooper Jr. here with Mr. 809 Santana Moss, mouth of the South, Fred Smoot, and the legend Logan Paulson. Fellas, it's good to be all back together again, right? We was out in Detroit. You was out at a fan rally.
I missed y'all.
Logan put a suit on. Like a lot of shit, right? But the most exciting thing is that we have all of these draft picks. Fellas, how are you guys feeling after one of the more historic drafts in Washington history?
I feel good. I feel great, honestly. I think one of the things that stood out to me is just going into the draft, talking about filling spots of need. I think they did just that. And not only that, just some of the guys that they picked up. It just shows you the kind of football team they're trying to build around here. They got physical guys that's going to get after it. And like you say, these guys are all kind of basically earned their right to be where they at. They wasn't highly sought out guys going into college. They leaving highly sought out guys.
You know what? I think it's the last final piece to the start of a new era. Started with the new owners, then it came with the new GM, then the new head coach, and now we got that new quarterback, and I think that's the final piece to the start of this new era. So you should have a smile on your face as big as mine out there, fan base.
Yours big.
I mean, I'm juiced, man. I get juiced for good football players, and there are a lot of good football players in this draft, and we got a lot of them, which I think is really exciting, right? You get guys who are competitive, tough, they're great leaders, like Tana was saying, and that's how you kind of start that foundational piece in addition to the quarterback. So a lot of excitement for me.
And Fred, you talk about building that new era. A big part of that is going to be the play of Jaden Daniels. Now, on the Get Loud podcast with Mike Jenks, you guys had a guy named Tom Luganbill join, right?
And Tom was great. He was great. A lot of intimate knowledge on him, been watching him since high school.
And one thing Luganbill's talked about was Jaden Daniels' IQ. We know a lot about his athleticism. We know the boy can run. We know he can throw. But he talked about his IQ. Let's take a listen.
I think the #1 thing that I've seen from a growth standpoint from his true freshman year at Arizona State to the end of his tenure at LSU was not only to get bigger and stronger, of course he did, but he became a really effective play-action passer and decipher of coverage post-snap. Knowing what he's seeing pre-snap, come off the snap, now what are you seeing post-snap, and then being able to quickly process and get the ball out of his hand.
Fred, my man was dropping some knowledge on that podcast.
I learned so much about where he started to where he's at right now. And like he said, the progression, the learning progressions, how he took it. Like he said at the beginning, nobody would have picked him to win the Heisman 4 years ago. But he watched this kid constantly grow. And that's what you want to see. Like everybody want to knock him because he got better and better every year. That's what you want your players to do.
And Commanders family, you can check out the Get Loud podcast with Mike Jenks and Fred Smoot on the Commanders YouTube page and wherever you get your audio podcast. Now, let's take a list at our full list of draft picks. Quite a memorable first NFL draft in the burgundy and gold for general manager Adam Peters and company. Here's a look at the Commanders' 2024 draft class. 9 picks overall with 6 in the top 100. As you can see, a lot of talent. Now, I got a chance to sit down with our new GM and talk to him about all things draft. And let me tell you, Adam Peters was still as excited as day one. Brian Coble Jr. here with our new GM, Adam Peters. Adam, first time as the GM of Washington, and you just finished your first draft. You came into the league as a scout. Now you're here. Talk about that. How were you feeling, man? You did a great job.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for saying that.
Yes, sir.
It was awesome. It was incredible. It was everything from a personal level. It was really cool to be working together with all these people, and like with DQ, all our scouts, the coaches. It was a team effort. It was really, really fun, really throughout the whole process. And then those 3 days, it was pretty neat, and just getting a chance to talk with the scouts on who they like, the coaches, DQ, and really come out with what we think is a great draft.
Well, Adam, again, congratulations. I know you were in your element. I know you love that kind of stuff. And one thing the fans noticed right away was the AP belt buckle. Not only did you look happy, you look good, but you had the swag on too. Tell us what made you decide to put that AP belt buckle on.
So I have a really close friend that he actually lives here in Leesburg now, Will McDonough.
Yeah.
And he took over some office space in Manhattan, and it was that company's office space. So they had a few things laying around still. I guess they just didn't pack it all up. So he sent a bunch of stuff to me. So I actually got that for free, and that was really my best black belt. So so that's the story. There's not much to it. It wasn't custom made. It wasn't anything I bought. Just kind of handed to me. So it was pretty cool, though.
Gotta love free swag. And AP, you looked good, and it looked really good. And what else looked good was watching you and Dan Quinn just interact. You both spoke so much about how excited you guys were to collaborate throughout this whole process. Now you're on the back end of it. You got through it. How was it collaborating with not only Dan Quinn, but your whole new staff?
Yeah, he's incredible, and he's been incredible every step of the way through the interview process, all the way up till this past weekend where, I mean, we see things the same way, which is great, but then also he's super supportive of everything that we do in scouting, and we try to do the same thing with them. And so being able to talk through ball with him teaching me what he's looking for on guys on defense, what he's envisioning for guys on offense, it was awesome throughout the whole process. And I think it really landed us some really good players that maybe we didn't think were available, but we were able to talk about it beforehand and pulled the trigger on them.
And you and DQ kept things very close to the vest. There was a lot of speculation. A lot of people assumed we'd get Jaden, but you guys did such a great job at keeping things close to the vest. That was very impressive to see, but you guys did get your guy. You got Jaden Daniels. Now, you were able to make that phone call with him. What was that moment like?
Yeah, we got our guy. Yeah. That was incredible to get Jaden and to be able to be the one making that phone call along with DQ and Josh. It was incredible, and great moment for really everybody here, the whole organization, the whole building, the whole franchise, the whole DMV. This is a great moment for everybody here who's a fan of the Commanders.
And Dan Q has said he wants dog-ass players. How does Jaden Daniels fit that mold?
He fits everything about it. He is a big time competitor. He's the hardest worker on the team. You see him on the field, how tough he is. He fits that mold. It's not often a quarterback will fit that mold, but he fits that mold to a T.
And you talk about fit. Cliff Kingsbury is known as kind of like a quarterback whisperer. How do you feel he fits in this offense with Cliff Kingsbury here?
Yeah, he fits perfect because Cliff's going to do exactly what is our Jaden's strengths.
Yeah.
And that's really what Cliff's superpower is finding, he's worked with a lot of great quarterbacks and he's taken them to another level. And even though Jaden's doing really well right now, he's going to take him to an even higher level and build really the offense around him whenever he gets in and starts.
And we all have expectations. Fans have expectations. Media has expectations. Even Jaden has expectations for himself. As the general manager, what are your expectations for Jaden Daniels this year?
I know Jaden, he's going to come in here and just work. And that's what's taken him this far. So that's really my expectation. He's going to come in here, and I know he's going to work his tail off. He's going to be a great teammate and do whatever it takes to get on that field. And I know from experience, from seeing what he's done every step of the way, that he'll do that.
Now, it wasn't just the Commanders fans that were impressed with our 2024 draft class. Our front office's decision-making were highly regarded across the league. NFL's next-gen stats had our first 7 picks graded at #1 overall out of the entire draft. Commanders family, we gotta love to see that. fellas, great to see our draft class so highly regarded around the league, and not something we've seen a lot. But Fred, how does it feel to just have so much love towards the draft class?
First of all, about that time for normacy, it's just normal.
Yeah.
Like, I think our fan base not used to people handling business the right way. Like, and it's scaring us. Like, we're shocked, we're surprised, but not me. When we put this brain trust together, I knew they had a plan, and we watched that plan execute in the draft. And I give them all the kudos in the world for not going away from their draft board. Like, I really do.
Yeah, it was great. I think it's great to just not only for us to feel that we did well, but just for the guys on the outside who's looking in, just the league as a whole to say, hey, those guys over there in Washington did something throughout this draft. And then, leading up to the draft, we had already felt that way. So it was great to see them put a stamp on it in the draft.
Yeah, they got a bunch of good football players that are good athletes, that are physically competitive. They're all captains. I love that element of it, just the process to kind of get a bunch of good players that are good people that are going to work to be better at their craft.
And Logan, you said it, great players. We got a bunch of them. It's not just Jaden Daniels. So outside of Jaden Daniels, we know we're all excited about him. Logan, who are you most excited for that we draft?
I mean, it's got to be Mike Sanders still, man. That guy is an absolute baller. He plays like the nickel spot in Michigan's defense, a little bit of safety, but played outside corner. He's tough. He can blitz. He's great in coverage. He's a converted wide receiver, got great ball skills, 6 interceptions last year, and he might be pound for pound the best player in college football. And so the fact that he's a Washington Commander, got that C on his chest, the way he competes, I mean, I'm just ecstatic that he's part of this organization.
And we've seen people say, like, this might be the best corner in the draft. So he's a very highly regarded guy. Tanner, what about you, man? Who do you think is your favorite prospect that we drafted?
Well, I know we call you BC, and this guy his initials is BC. Brandon
Hopefully he don't take it from me.
I mean, he might. You might have to give it to him.
That'd be okay.
I think that was a great pickup. I think at the time we was all talking tackles. We got to the point where we was like, man, we're not going to reach and get a tackle, and then I don't think we had to. This guy fell in our lap. He's a tremendous talent. He's a guy that played guard for a whole year, played tackle. He's been playing tackle well. He's one of those guys that we talk about so much. When they're talking about his athletic ability, I watched the dude run that 40, man, that 4.9 as an offensive lineman. I know y'all looking and saying 4.9, Tanner, but no, he's an offensive lineman running that way, and he was moving. So he's one of those guys that stood out to me that we picked up.
320+ pounds running at 4.9 is no joke. He's a monster.
He can hurt people.
Now, Fred.
Yeah.
I was going to assume you would go defensive back, but you actually have a different favorite, don't you?
Yes, I do. I already gave him a nickname, too. Ben Shanat. And listen, this is why I love him. He's a bigger, faster, more athletic version of my man right here.
Oh, wow.
Listen, but this guy is to me, he's an image guy. He's the image of what a commander is. He came in, he walked on, he earned everything he had. And by the time he left school, the offense revolved around him. And when I say he can do a little bit of everything, you can line him at fullback. You can line him at tight end. You can move him away from the core. He can do whatever needs to be done. And I think he epitomized what they wanted in that draft. And if you look at the rest of these players, they're very much similar in what they had to go through in college. Sanat, I can't wait.
No surprise there that we would go get a young tight end. But Fred, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
What other surprises were there during draft night? We know there's so many things that changed. Were you surprised at all by anything we did?
I was just surprised we handled business and stuck to our guns. Yeah. We stuck to what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it, and we didn't let anybody move us off of it. Everybody wanted us to trade back into the first, How much are you willing to give up to do that? And we weren't willing to give that up. We waited patiently. Everybody we wanted failed us.
Yeah.
And that's a great point, Tanner, because during the pre-draft show, every position you said we needed to fill, we did that in those first 2 days. But Tanner, let me ask you, were you surprised by anything that we did?
I talked about this, a little minute ago. I was surprised that we wasn't surprised. You know what I'm saying? Or not to be surprised.
Yeah, right.
I think for so many years, you wanted to see something different.
Yeah.
And I think, we had going into this draft, we was like, look, this is a new regime.
Yeah.
We're not doing things that we did in the past, so I want to see that. And they didn't. They didn't stray away from doing what we thought that they was going to do. They went out there, like I said before, AP and, Coach Quinn, they went out there together and went out there and personally selected these guys and said, this is the kind of mold we're trying to fill here, or, we want these kind of players. And when you look at them to the T, they're just that kind of athlete. They're just that caliber of players.
And Logan, We know you are the prospect professor, right? We know that you were locked in studying with your boy Fred Smoot.
Okay.
So
Fred helped me out a lot.
Did anything surprise you?
I mean, outside of Michael Penix, not really. I think just the way the draft fell, the way the prospects fell, I think the Commanders did a great job getting value where they needed to. We talked about the character of the guy they got. They also got really good football players. And it was good value kind of across the board, which is outstanding.
Wait, hold on. I got something I'm shocked about. I'm shocked that Johnny Newman dropped that
yeah,
ball.
that's true.
If anything, that tells to the testimony of that pick. I didn't think he would be anywhere after 20.
Yeah, definitely a first-round talent. I think that's what excited everybody about him. Now, Tana, we killed it in free agency. Clearly, we killed it in the draft. What positions are left to be filled on this roster?
I think when you listen to the fans, they still feel like there's some tackles to be had. You know what I mean? Some offensive tackles to be had. But I'm like, hey, I'm one of those things. You never know. You know what I mean? You're going to have guys that come available probably in June. You're going to have guys that you bring in. I think the sky's the limit to whatever they do. And I'm trusting in what these guys doing. They're doing everything they're doing strategically for a reason. So I'm just waiting to see.
Who say we didn't fill up the tackle slot? Just because we didn't select the guy in the first round or the second round, it's players all through this. Undrafted players will make this league. Undrafted players will get yellow jackets. London Fletcher is an undrafted player that deserves a yellow jacket. At the end of the day, Coleman is a guy that played 1,500 snaps, then gave up 3 sacks in 3 years and 55 pressures. He can be my tackle. He can go at my function. The only thing I think he don't like about Coleman is the neck brace. He said swag.
It's the neck board, man. It throws you a little bit.
And you know what, Logan? Fred mentioned it, the undrafted free agents. Well, we made some waves in undrafted free agency as well. Tell us how good you feel knowing that we got some of these guys that were highly regarded all across the league.
I mean, I feel great about it. I think, those guys will end up making the team, like Fred said. And Ndunzie from Colorado State, I think he's an excellent pickup. He's 6'1", he's 200 pounds. He ran a 4.39. Yeah. He's got kind of those great movement skills. And I'm not saying he's going to make the squad, but in terms of athletic traits, you say that's one. Sam Hartman's another guy that you get really excited about. Not the most physically gifted guy on the whole face of the earth, but he understands how to play the position. Great vision, working through his progressions, and could develop into a backup long term, which I think is always exciting. And everyone was sleeping on Brock Purdy, right? He had a lot of similar qualities to our guy Sam Hartman.
You talk about Sam Hartman, $20,000 signing bonus. So when you see a guy get that kind of money, you got to expect he is held to a high regard on this team. And 2 guys that are held to a high regard are London Fletcher and Bram Weinstein. They got to catch up during draft night and talk about all of these draft prospects. Let's take a listen.
Thanks, Brian. All right, London. The Commanders really addressed a lot of different needs through the draft, especially in the early part with all of that draft capital. Who really, and we'll get to Jaden in a little bit.
Yes.
Who really stood out to you?
Well, first of all, you look at the pick that we made at 36, Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. One thing I talked about is us needing to address that defensive pass rush on the interior when Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen's not in the game. We didn't have somebody in that second wave to be able to rush the passer. Ridgeway's more of a run stopper. Math is still more of a run stopper. So to get him, who many people had as a first-round draft pick, he had to be sticking out like a sore thumb. You love that. And then Brandon Coleman, the offensive tackle. Getting him a big body guard, a guy who can play left tackle, has some position versatility. Maybe he can play right tackle. Probably can also play interior lineman if you need. So those are guys that I really love, those picks.
Obviously, tackle had to be addressed. It may still be addressed because I think the plan may have been to go for one a little bit earlier. The board just didn't fall their way. With Newton, it was a bit of a surprise because it didn't fall into that category of definitive need.
Yes.
But they picked what appears to be best player on the board. And so they're sticking to what they believe their board read to them. And I think that's important to see here in this first draft under Adam Peters.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you're really trying to see. Okay, when the talent is just sticking out, like we got this guy rated so high. I know the need may not necessarily be there, but we just can't pass it up. A guy that you love, we got to talk about, cornerback out of Michigan.
Yeah, Mike Sammerstill. He's a winner. He's a ball hawk. 6 interceptions, 2 returned for touchdowns, played for the national champion Michigan Wolverines a year ago. Incredible character. Great backstory you're going to learn about as well with his family, things that have happened here. Corner, I felt, was a definitive need coming into it. The way the draft was playing out, where you're taking quarterback at the top, you need a tackle, you think you need an edge rusher, suddenly they get lucky and land on a defensive tackle. It felt like something that was going to get missed. And they ended up, what I think is with a home run in terms of character, production, and pedigree. I think this is the home run hit for me.
Well, when you look at him and you see the ability to play inside the box. He can play nickel. You know, at 5'9", maybe close to 5'10", he's not afraid to mix it up. You see him in run support, getting in there. You can blitz him, doing all the different types of things. We know how important defensive backs will be in this system under Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. Tight end. They addressed the tight end position, needing to get some maybe a little bit younger at the tight end. You can play H-back. You can move him a bunch of different positions. You saw him lined up outside in the slot, different things like that. Tight end, I love that pick as well.
Yeah, in the past, Cliff Kingsbury has used a lot of two tight end formations. John Bates is a tremendous blocker, has pretty good hands, but isn't going to be used out in the flat very often. I think they're looking at Zach Ertz and now Ben Sinnott. And again, they didn't reach for him. He landed in their spot. He was the second tight end taken off the board, and so I think they followed their board and addressed the need at the same time.
That's a need, but we talk about need as we wrap this thing up. Jaden Daniels, that need number one. We hit a home run. He was absolutely the best quarterback available at that position. Some people had him even as the number one quarterback in this year's draft. Jaden Daniels, love his film, love him as his character. Just talking to him, you can tell the work ethic. You see why they made him the number 2 pick.
You know, for years and years and years, I used to walk up to players like you and ask you how you're going to stop this other team's quarterback. And I think for the first time, it feels like really since RG3, other teams are going to have to be asked, how are you going to stop this electric, eclectic player? And that's what I think is what he brings here is something this team has not had in a very long time.
Well, the answer will be good luck because he's not just a run-first quarterback. The arm talent. They talked about throwing the best deep ball out of all the quarterbacks coming out of this year's draft. He's also the ability to go through his progressions, stand in the pocket, deliver an accurate throw with pressure in his face, and then if everything's covered up and you are not disciplined in your pass rush lanes, he goes from 0 to 60 in a blink of an eye, and he's out of there. And it could be good night, Irene. He's going to go for a touchdown.
This team checked a lot of boxes. They also maybe checked the biggest box of them all, which covers a lot of flaws on a roster when you have a quarterback who is dynamic.
Shout out to London and Bram for bringing the insights onto our newest members of the Commanders family. The Commanders made some moves and had 3 draft picks in the second round, taking Johnny Newton 36th overall, taking Mike Sanderson 50th overall, and taking tight end Ben Sinnott 53rd overall. Now you know we have to send it to the prospect professor, Logan Paulson, to break down these guys in the film room.
All right, let's take a deeper dive on our second round draft picks. Let's start with your guy, Fred.
Yes!
Sinnott. And now, is he sitting right here? No, he's not. Because he lines up in the backfield a ton and kind of plays that H-back hybrid position. And you got to be wired a little bit different to be playing off the ball like this. I mean, this is like, right here. This is like a car crash right here. Let's
tell
go get
the people in the stands to grab some tissue, because there goes some snot.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yes, sir.
So the ability to get a guy who can do this, kick out on power in the goal line situation is awesome. This quarterback doesn't make a good read, but there's a toughness there, a physical courage there that gets me fired up. And then we got him lined up here on the end line of scrimmage, coming across. You're going to do a little zone read in the backfield. Watch him come across, and he says, "Oh, what's up, defensive end?
Yes, sir.
You're the read guy." No, but check this out. I got pop from my lower hips. Let me take 2 here. Quarterback walks in. And Katana, that's got to get you a little bit juiced up, right?
Juiced up ain't the word. This man just took 2 out. But he's one of those guys. He's not selfish. You know what I mean? That's the kind of player you want on your team right there.
That's a commander.
Not selfish, physical, and then the thing that makes him kind of sets him apart. Because you can get a fullback, get a guy to run through a wall any day of the week. I like his ability to catch the football. Here he is in the backfield again. Every time you're watching this film, it's like, where in the world is Ben Sinnott, right? Watch him right here. So we're going to run a little bit of a corner here. Not the most sudden route runner, but got good vertical speed. Hits the corner here, and watch him adjust to this football, right? Able to get that one hand on the ball, bring the ball in, and then we talk about his toughness, the George Kittle comps, the Kyle Juszczyk comps. I can get over this. I can get down here, boom, break a tackle, and fight for that extra yard.
Yes.
You get a tough, competitive guy that can be used like a chess piece all over the formation.
Tone setter.
And our guy, Sanderson, the guy from Michigan, Mike Sanderson, the defensive back, is kind of the same thing on the defensive side of the ball, right? Here he is right here. You got to kind of, again, where is he lined up in the defense? What's he doing? He's right near the line of scrimmage. This receiver here is coming to what? To dig that dude out, right? And he says, I know what this run action is. Let me trigger downhill fast. I read, my reaction time's excellent. And then I'm not afraid to stick my face in there and tackle this running back, even though I'm a smaller guy.
Explosive pile of dynamite is what he is.
Yeah, Tana, and you've had to crack guys like that.
Yeah.
Guys that are super instinctive, Tana, are hard to get this done on.
Yeah, one of the guys, so you could tell he watched film. So he knew it was coming. He saw the split. He said, all right, this guy coming to dig me out. Let me go ahead and beat him to the punch.
Yeah, love that. Love that intuitiveness. And then you mentioned the intuitiveness there, Tana, the film watching. Like, they're trying to, when they play UW, right?
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of receivers. This guy was excellent in terms of third down, right?
Yep.
Our guys manned up with him, right? They're trying to get him a screen over the middle of the field. Watch as soon as he breaks in. Look at him.
No hesitation.
Watch him react to this. And then the other thing about being a DB, watch him navigate these big offensive linemen getting downhill. Like, they can't even touch him. He's so quick and so decisive. I love this kind of energy, this kind of anticipation, man. Gets me juiced up.
Oh, no, you got to love this. You love a guy that can cover, but he get there with bad intentions right there. You got to love that.
And we got a little bit of juice there.
Let's swag.
And then we got to say, where is he? Where is he in the defense? Right here, they're playing two safeties in the back end. They got a Tampa player right here, and our guy Sanders still is playing safety, right? So he was playing nickel, man, up in the box, near the line of scrimmage, and now he's a half-field player back in the defense, and he's got great vision, great feel, understands the down distance. Watch him. Watch his feet, Tana. Watch him just mirror the quarterback.
No wasted move.
Where's he at? I got it. Ball's a little overthrown. I can make a play, and then Fred, you say this all the time. Not only is he a great DB, but he's got return ability, right?
Yes,
he's getting out.
Yes.
So
One cut and go.
He almost scores a touchdown on this play, but great job. Love having that versatility of the defense, that mindset, right?
Yep.
And then we got another guy, Johnny Newton, man, and he's a big old hoss now.
We like big old houses. We like those.
And one thing I love about him is his ability to use his hands at a high level, right? He gets in here, he says, let me see this big fella get down. And then I've got enough juice to turn the edge here, work the corner, and I'm going to sack the quarterback. No.
He's good at that. He's good at just eating him up Pac-Man.
And you love the energy, the strain to finish, right? It's hard to get sacks, especially as an interior player, but love the strain to get out there, finish the down. And we talk about strain, you got to be straining in the run game also, right? So here he is. He's in the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him pop in here. Watch him play across. He's going to work across the formation this way, right?
Yep.
Play across, get in the gap, and getting on the tackle. Fighting traffic, getting people off his legs. Boom. Captain, leaders, versatile across the front, physical sons of guns, man.
Yeah.
That's what you like. And we're talking about second-round picks. We didn't talk about Jaden Daniels, did we?
Yeah, we did.
That's next week.
Yes.
You got to check that out next week on the show, right? We're going to talk about Jaden Daniels. But in the meantime, Brian, you got some stuff to talk about with the second overall pick.
Shout out to our guys for always breaking it down. Now, it's time to take a look at Jaden's lucky numbers presented by Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today, but please play responsibly. Now, looking at Jaden Daniels' 2023 stats, he had 3,800 plus passing yards with 40 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. On the ground, he added over 1,100 rushing yards with 10 rushing touchdowns. An impressive resume for our new quarterback, getting it done in multiple ways on the field. Now, another guy that brought value to Washington with his versatility is Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell. I got to catch up with him after day 2 of draft to talk about Jaden Daniels and all of our early draft picks. Welcoming in Super Bowl champion Brian Mitchell. We are out here in Detroit. We're here to talk about Jaden Daniels. A fun draft so far, but let's focus on Jaden Daniels, man. Do you feel like we got our guy with this pick?
I believe we did.
Yeah.
You know, I think when you look at everything that he can do, very good in the pocket. He can run the football. He's amazing at that. I think the guy's a much better passer than people give him credit for. Has a strong arm, very accurate. You know, and I hear people talking about the fact that he had 2 top-notch receivers, and they didn't complain.
Yep.
He kept them happy. When they were running routes, he threw the ball out in front of them, made sure they can keep running with the ball. So when you have a guy doing all that and keeps 2 people happy, it means he's a very good quarterback.
And you see Jaden Daniels just full of energy. As soon as he got picked, everybody's showing him love. He's excited. He's smiling. Not a lot of emotion outside of just excitement to get to work. How important is that to have a quarterback with that kind of confidence coming in the building?
Well, you hear all the rumors about him going on there at 5:30. He had him to change the key code so he can go work out. He wanted to be there early, be there late. But he keeps talking about his teammates. He wants to be a leader for them. He wants to go out there and show them what he's about. And I think that's the ultimate thing for a quarterback. When you are in that position, guys are looking to see what you're going to do. And if you're in that position of leadership and you can start pushing in like Tom Brady, okay, Brett Favre, when he would fight Warren Sapp, those type of guys are the guys that get people to follow them. You know, just like some of those coaches that we look at and say, what the hell is it about that coach? But the coach has a unique knack of getting guys to follow. I think Jaden Daniels has that as well. But he's an even better football player when he's out there.
He 100% is. And when you ask Jaden Daniels what kind of quarterback he is, he'll tell you, I'm a dog. Dan Quinn has said, I want dog-ass players in this building. Does Jaden Daniels fit that mold? And why is it so important to have a quarterback that has that dog in him?
Well, we want him to have that dog in him, but we want him to be more like a little chihuahua. Okay? We don't want him to be a pit bull.
Okay.
So in the NFL now, listen, he can still be that, but he's going to have to be a little smarter.
Yes, yes.
Okay, he's going to be the guy. He has to understand that it's not about that play. It's about leading your team for the long haul.
For sure.
You know, so if he backs up that dog mentality a little bit, unless it's fourth and a goal, unless it's in a playoff game or something like that, you can still be it, but you don't want to do it all the time.
Yes.
Because there are going to be people looking. They're going to understand, you have all that talent, I get you off the field, that helps my team out.
For sure.
So he has to be able to protect himself and make sure his teammates understand that I'm going to do what I need to do, but I'm not going to put myself in harm's way.
And we talk about this whole draft as a whole, right? But let's focus on the tight end that we picked up. B-Mitch, you played quarterback, man.
Yeah.
How important is that tight end for a young quarterback having that safety net out there, especially a big body?
Well, I think it's not just for the young quarterback. It's for the offense as a whole. You know, he can be the guy to erase a guy coming off the edge of a tackle. You know, if he's coming in motion, he sits up in the backfield, a guy that may come through the gap, he can pick that up. But he can also be, like you said, that safety valve for that quarterback where when nothing is open downfield and the running back has gotten outside but the linebacker went with him, a tight end that can catch the ball, sure-handed guy, okay? When you're a sure-handed guy that can block as well, that's going to make your offense even more effective.
Yeah.
Because they drop out and they think, oh, we got their good guys covered. Drop it off, he gets 10, 15 yards. Chains keep moving.
Yeah.
Keeps you on the field. Your defense gets tired.
Oh, man, we are so excited to see Jaden Daniels. And one thing we were very excited about as well is to see the collaboration between Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. Man, a lot of picks made in these last 2 days. How are you feeling they've done so far?
I think they've done a great job. And I don't think it's just those two guys.
Yeah.
I think it's all those coaches who are telling them, I want to coach this type of player. This is the guy we want to get with. I think the one thing I believe in Quinn since he was picked up here, he attracts people because he has that mentality, that aura around him. And I think he also understands when those guys come, they want to have some input.
Yeah.
And I think players need to take heed to that too. You need to have some input. Study as hard as you can. Make sure you know everything. So when you give a suggestion, coach may want to go with it.
Yes.
Okay? And I think once that happens, then you'll see guys will go even harder. Andy Reid is that way.
Yes.
Dan Quinn do that as well. And I think these players got to go out there and understand it's not always on the coaches.
Yes.
You are a professional athlete. You're the top of your craft. So the coach may need your help sometimes. You're on the field. You know what's happening. Help them out.
And it's been so much fun seeing these guys work. Every time you see Dan Quinn, especially on these calls, he's smiling ear to ear.
Oh, yeah.
He's a kid at a candy store. We have loved to see it. And you know what? We can't wait to see these guys get to work, especially our new quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Always great catching up with my guy, B-Mitch, man. So many prospects to be excited about. And after me and B-Mitch spoke, we added even more prospects with our undrafted free agency class. Headlined by the Notre Dame quarterback, Sam Hartman, we have some dogs coming in undrafted that are looking to make this roster. Now, there's one guy that knows how to earn his keep, and that is our new free agent, Bobby Wagner. I got a chance to catch up with him on Free Agency Fridays. So it's time to just chill. Brought to you by Steam Fitters. Steam Fitters Local 602 provides the highest level of HVAC and mechanical piping services. What's good, Commanders family? Brian Cooper Jr. here, and this is Free Agency Friday. And one we know you've been looking forward to is a Bobby Wagner interview. We got Bobby Wagner right here, brother. Appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate you.
The Commanders fans get so excited that they send us questions to ask you, right? They want to know from you. So I'm going to ask you a fan question if that's cool. That's cool?
Of course.
All right. Now, this is from @TY_Montana. He asks, what are some signs you look for in training camp that lets you know you have a good team on your hands?
I think as far as defense, talking, when you have a loud defense that's communicating, I think that's a sign of a good defense. But I also think is the camaraderie, like how close are the guys. You know, I think that's obviously built now and built through the course of the off season and training camp and things of that nature. You got to go through scars yourself. Yeah. But that's the biggest thing because there's a lot of talented defenses out there that don't really rock with each other. They don't perform to the best of their ability. And so can we, you know, connect on a different level on the field and off the field that will help, lead this defense to where we think it should be.
Always great to talk to our new free agents, especially when we can throw in a fan question. And speaking of our fans had the internet buzzing all weekend long with the excitement about the draft. As you can see, it was #RaiseHell all over the internet, and there's nothing better than that. Fellas, you see the tweets, you see the excitement, and I'm sure our prospects are excited as well. But one of my favorite things about Command Center is that we got y'all here. Guys that have done it before, guys that have been out on that field. So, give some advice to these guys. We got a first round, we got a second round, we got an undrafted free agent here. Give some advice to all of these prospects on how to have successful careers like y'all did.
Well, I say that, most guys look at it and say their career was kind of, I guess you can say, once they made it, they arrived.
Yeah.
I mean, you still got a job.
It's just getting started.
You know what I mean? It's just getting started. Don't even have that process of, or that mindset of saying, man, I'm here now, I'm here. You got to be more eager than you were trying to get here when you get here. So keep going to the end, trying to do as much as you can to better yourself.
First of all, I would tell them this. It's easy to get here. They don't think that. It's easy to get here. It's hard to stay here. NFL stands for not for long. All right, so at the end of the day, a lot of people make it, but a lot of people don't stick. That's why people give 10-year veterans, 7-year veterans so much respect, because you got to realize every year it's 5,000 hungry dogs want your job, and they got something you cannot buy back, and that's youth. So understand, seize the moment, make the moment yours. Only one chance to do that.
Yeah, first off, congratulations. That's awesome you guys are here. But I totally agree with these guys. It's like, don't leave any stone unturned in terms of finding ways to improve yourself, right? It's such a short opportunity to make a ton of money, provide for your family. Turn over every stone, find every opportunity, make yourself as good of a football player as you can possibly be.
Great advice, fellas. And again, congratulations to our 2024 NFL Draft Class. Commanders family, you know you're excited. We're excited. We will see you next Thursday on Command Center.
Join me as I take a deep dive into the least consulted ticketing app in history, SeatGeek. Did SeatGeek invent the ticket?
No, but we do make them work.
Drum roll, please. Ooh, how do I use the Seat View feature?
It shows seats with a pole blocking the view. Don't buy those.
What if I want to sit behind a pole?
Buy those.
Join me as I bore you to death with a series of interviews about a ticketing app that just does what it's supposed to do.